for you to come in. Oh, okay. All right. Hi.
Okay, so we are live.
Okay, then I can pin questions, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay, so you have a question to, or okay, later that I'll put it up as
So,
we
so
go
you,
along.
you you have to pin the title.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, let me type it in.
No, I already prepared for you. Oh, 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 oh.
Okay, I pinned it.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get started.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
First of all, thanks so much, Nick, for taking the time to be part of this series.
No
Um,
worries, no worries.
Again, this is a very interesting series. The first round we did with the 7 speakers. It was inspired by the fact that when the whole circuit breaker was introduced, a lot of people were asking questions about how can they make the transitions about how can they transit their lifestyle, which has been conventionally offline. I'm
Oh, you're echoing pretty badly.
should I reduce?
Is there any improvement? Please let us know. There's a lot of
Test
echo.
one, test one, test. Is it better now? Cause
Any improvement, guys?
is it better, guys?
Still have echo.
Okay, let's try
Is
something
this
different.
is this better? Can you hear Imran?
Test one.
Oops. Oh, now it's quite bad.
Oh wow, there's feedback.
Yeah.
Test one.
Now Nick got echo. Okay. Better. Any different? Hello?
Yeah. So what
Hello?
I'm doing is I'm using the audio from laptop instead. So I'm just switching it up.
It sounds fine. Just Imran.
So is it better
Imran.
now?
I think Imran still have feedback. Is it?
Feedback.
Is it?
Can't be.
Okay, we try. Hopefully, no more. Okay,
Ah,
thanks.
okay, wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Amira.
Just set up. Okay,
Okay, yeah,
so
good.
is it Imran got echo?
Ayo.
Is it from Facebook Live? Man,
Hello?
I hear some of you say it's better.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks for that.
Okay, so as I was saying, the first round of us hosting this was that There's no sound coming from them.
Oh, maybe just now. Okay, now okay. Yeah, yeah. Just now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
yeah. We need to record how we do this. Okay, so a lot of people were asking, hey, how can I make that transition from offline to online, primarily for my business or for my work?
Hmm.
And that's why for those who I could help out, I did. But I realized there were a lot more people who I feel are experiencing the problem, and that's why I just gathered the seven speakers to share their own personal experiences. How the Yeah, so there are their own personal experiences of how they think that people can make that transition smoothly from offline to online. So all the seven speakers are experts in their own field, and they are sharing their own ways of how they make the transition.
Yeah.
So this round two is also to follow up, and we also want to send a message that paper backpackers and the whole idea of digital nomad lifestyle is not just limited to the hustle and the grind. Also,
Hmm.
it's about understanding yourself. It's about your well-being, and when you say a lifestyle, it's not just about your work. It's also about how you live your life. So that's why some of you might be curious. Hey, why are we talking about relationship here? So it's not all about digital work or digital marketing and everything. So your personal self, your health, your well-being is also just as important. So I feel that this is relevant. I mean, when you talk about digital nomads, naturally you will talk about long distance relationship, right?
As a nomad.
And if you're not long distance relationship, it might also mean that you're working from home.
Yeah.
It's either or. So that's why I feel that this is a good time for us who aspire to be digital nomad to see what it's like. And Prof Nick here, we call him here today again. Okay, if you missed last year, we had a session with him. He shared he set up parallel to educate people about how you should view relationship. Most of us view relationship. I might be wrong. Most of us view it instinctively. That's how we view relationship, where you develop feelings and emotion, and that's why you take the leap and commit to a relationship, and that's how you continue through your relationship as well. What Prof Nick prepared was actually to include design thinking element to guide your thought process of how you can approach relationship, how you can maintain your relationship, and keep it real and keep it healthy.
Hmm.
So today is we are looking at how different it is. Let's say during the circuit breaker, there's two ends of the spectrum. Those who are staying with their spouse and partner, or those who are separated from their partner. So before we dive into the topic, we will just do a quick introduction. So uh, Nick here, he's been involved in design for a long time. He's done a lot of amazing work, and that's why I feel that I think it's not fair for me to share. I feel rather have him share about his own works and projects right now.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Imran. Yeah, so basically, I mean, I will summarize very quickly. I'm teaching at SIT, so I think some of the people in the chat may also be my students that I've previously taught or I'm currently teaching. But I'm basically teaching design, and I think design now is a field that's much bigger than just your your aesthetics, right? Or to create something that's beautiful. Design actually has a lot of functions within businesses, companies, organizations. We're seeing a lot of companies and even government bodies use these design values, in terms of empathy, understanding people, things like prototyping, iterative processes, experimentation. I think these are things that designers are very used to, and we're starting to see more organizations as well as more businesses also apply these methods, these techniques into their own organizations as well. And I think for me, the other aspect that I've also been working on over the past few years is better, I think, understanding relationships, like romantic relationships, as much as I can. I try to understand, how relationships have developed over the years, how are they different, in a modern day context today, and also how are they different when it comes to the way people interact with each other. And now we're seeing, through circuit breaker, it's almost like you're in a temporary long distance relationship for a lot of people lah. Or for some people, it's you are in a perpetual 24/7 physical relationship, physical presence relationship with your partner that you're staying home in. So I think the dynamics are quite different when it comes to how circuit breaker has impacted relationships that people are engaging with today. So those are the two aspects that I've been working on, and I've been trying to get a better understanding over the past few years. And so yeah.
So yeah, maybe we then, since there are two sides of a coin, maybe we start with those who are in the perpetual physical presence relationship. So what are your comments, like? How do you feel about that? Like that perpetual
So
physical.
yeah, so as a designer, I've always been very uh, I've always been a very listening kind of person lah, because this value of empathy has always been something that has a strong significance in the way I do things. So I'm experiencing, but I'm also studying myself in this process now. So I live at home with my wife and my 2-year-old son. So he's about 26 months. And the dynamic of that's different, that's changed over the circuit breaker is, I didn't used to see them 24/7, right? I only used to be, I'll see my wife and kid, in the morning, I'll go to work, then late afternoon, I'll pick them up, and then I'll see them again, and then the cycle goes on and on. We'll have the whole day on the weekend. But now it's um oh yeah, you're 26 years, you can be my son also. Yeah, sure, can. But I mean, but in terms of that is, um, we are trying. The dynamics of that time is very different. So now I spend 24/7 with my wife and my son, and I think the way we interact now is also very different from how we were interacting before. So now we spend so much time with each other. We have to communicate more, because it's like we have to say, oh, hey, actually these are the things that I should be doing. These are my roles. These are my responsibilities. I need some time to do this. I need some time to do that. My wife needs to deal with some of her work stuff. We need to take turns in terms of looking after our son, bathing him, or so the roles and the responsibilities are highlighted a lot more because of that dynamic that we're seeing lah. So now what we're understanding, with each other, is that we need to communicate a lot more. My expectations, her own expectations, that needs to be communicated as much as possible. So anything that she feels uneasy about, or anything that she's unhappy about, or I'm unhappy about, or I need help, or she needs support, that needs to come out as much as possible, right? So it just needs to have constant communication. And we live in a 4-room HDB flat, all right? Where you don't live in a big bungalow, or like your American, yeah, maybe your American friends, they have a big house, they got a few stories. You cannot sort of have one story and then I'm in a different story, and then we have our own space. But we do, I think if you plan out your house, you sort of give yourself enough space. I think you can separate and give yourself the needed space that is needed. The space that is needed lah, to give yourself a bit more sanity. Sometimes you can close the door. If you need a bit of privacy, just to meditate, or to think about life, or think about thoughts. I think I think, of course, different couples have different needs and different expectations. So I think I think that needs to be defined as clearly as possible. And like I said, it's just the constant communication with the partner. Keep communicating with your partner. Keep talking to them, and you will make life as easy as possible. I mean, of course, I cannot sit here and say that the relationship is wow perfect. Everything is flowery. But I think both of us we communicate enough to make the time spent with during the circuit breaker very livable. And I think we do enjoy spending time with each other as well as the time with our son. So yeah, that's good.
I mean, what it sounds like with this circuit breaker, a lot more deliberate planning and communication is required.
Yes.
And at the same time, we probably can agree that extended physical presence may not be something everyone can appreciate. So maybe like, are there things where you have personally done to disrupt or to have that break in between so you can rejuvenate, recharge?
I think sleep as much as you can. If you got any time to sleep, go and sleep. Don't spend so much time watching TV, on being on the phone. Because I think when you're at home, we tend to go to our digital devices quite. I mean, now all of you are watching through Instagram, or Facebook. So you are on a digital device. And because now a lot of our meetings are through Zoom as well. And that becomes a device that I think a lot of us are very reliant on. And I think the TV as well. A lot of us watch Netflix, and a lot of us are watching, our TV shows. You're streaming on the computer, or you're watching on TV. I think the healthiest thing you can do, of course, apart from eating healthy, and trying to find that balance, of course, is I think get rest, get sleep. Spend enough. Try to limit your time on your devices. Talk to the people in your house. I mean, unless you're staying at home all alone, but I'm sure most of us will have some family members. Parents, grandparents, or siblings. I think take that time to go sit down and have a chat with them. But if you do need space, I think the number one thing that I like to do is just go and sleep. I think you won't be disrupted. And you can recharge, and you can recover physically and mentally as well. So I think sleep is something that's very good. And I think trying to limit your time spent on digital devices, I think that helps a lot as well.
I'm surprised that you feel that there will be an option.
Oh, why do you say that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm surprised because that you might sleeping and maintaining that healthy relationship somehow, how does it really work together? And there's also the consumption
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I mean, I think a big part of, especially for couples who are staying with each other, I mean, I think it's you do need those breaks. I think just to give yourself those breaks that you're away from that person. Not to say that the person is bad, but it's just that sometimes you just need your own space to recharge, and maybe to be on your own, and just to think about things and reflect on your day. So I think moving away from the devices, giving yourself some time, and even going take a nap or having a rest. I think these are good things to do, because sometimes we're also very tired. Our eyes are strained. And then when you're tired, and then you're trying to converse with somebody, you are not able to give your 100% attention, right? So sometimes give yourself a break. It's okay. I think most companies now also don't expect you to be functioning at 100%. That you're usually functioning. And because of the circuit breaker. So I think we also need to give ourselves a little bit more of a don't put too much stress on ourselves. I think that's something that we need to consider and take some time to really recharge and and I think doing that is quite important.
I understand. At the same time, you would take turns to run errands as well.
Yeah.
So that will also allow.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, like we try to cook. So sometimes I will cook or my wife will cook for the family. Sometimes you also will go out and buy groceries, or I need to go and maybe help my wife buy a tea, or we go and buy a coffee, and then I'll bring it back. Or maybe she needs to leave the house, and then she will go out and buy coffee, and then or she will go and buy the groceries. So we'll take turns. See, I guess it's who needs to get out of the house more, lah, right? So who feels more constrained in the space, and then we'll take turns.
Who do you feel can last longer in the house?
I personally, I think for me, I'm a person who's very used to going out. So I'm the one. I think 90% of the time, I'm the one that's going out to go and buy the groceries, lah, just to get out of the house. And I think I'm not exercising as much as I hope to, because of laziness and other reasons. So going out for a quick walk just to the market, just to buy some groceries, or that's maybe my cardio for the day, lah. Not very good, but
At least it's
better than
something.
nothing. Better than not. Yeah. At least it's something. Yeah. Should we answer one of the questions about who for people who has a plenty of ambiguous relationships? Because I think that I think leads to the conversation that we're moving outside of the home, right? So where sort of we can discuss about how couples who are not staying together deal with circuit breaker, right? Yeah. Any thought? Any specifics, or should I just go straight into this specific question?
Yeah,
about,
the
about,
specific question, maybe from your own
Yeah.
personal experience.
Yeah. No, I've had ambiguous relationships in the sense that you're not sure whether you're in a relationship or not. So there is that sense of ambiguity, right? Are you or not? Are you together or not together with this person? So I get that there is ambiguity when it comes to some relationships, but I don't know whether um, uh, uh, Biscuit is asking about that, lah. But that's just my experience, like, in terms of this term. This when I see the word ambiguous, that's the context that I put it in, lah, because that's the knowledge that I have. So in terms of I think the ambiguity in terms of, oh, are you in a relationship or you're not in a relationship? Yeah, and one of the Joe seems to be having that issue. That's the story of life. Is he in a relationship or not in a relationship? That one he has to sit down and define, right? But yeah, it's a good question, because I think relationships are not at an early stage. Are not it takes time to be defined. I mean, you don't just meet somebody and tomorrow, oh, this person is your husband and your wife, or this person is your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Tomorrow you make this person. It takes time to develop that relationship, to get to know that person. And you can be dating a person. I don't know what's the new modern term. I don't know what's the new modern term for it, lah, right?
I don't know whether there's a modern for it.
I don't know, like, but I mean, I don't know, platonic relationships, or
Okay.
or other things, right? But I think there's a lot of different definitions that the people are using. Sometimes, but I think it doesn't matter what other people are saying about those two people, as long as the two people can sit down and define for themselves what are the expectations of the relationship. Because I mean, we do know, I mean, there are relationships, there are people who have purely carnal relationships, right? Like you're just with that person for physical reasons or whatever, right? Or there are relationships where people expect different things. Like I expect my boyfriend or my girlfriend to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? For me, and some people expect to go out every night for for parties and so on and so forth. But I think it's okay to have some level of ambiguity at the start, because you are trying to develop that relationship with that person, and it's okay to say after a few months that, hey, this is not the person for me. Let's not continue with this conversation. Let's not continue with this relationship lah. Right. So it's okay. So take that time. If it's in a limbo, you're in a gray area, you like that person, you don't like that person, you're not sure about it. As long as both people are on the same page to say that, hey, we are both unsure, let's keep being unsure for a period of time, and you're happy that that you're unsure and that person's unhappy that you're in a stage of uncertainty, then sure, go ahead with it. But if one person is very committed to, oh, I really want to be in a committed relationship with you, but someone else is not interested, then don't waste your time. All right. So I think the important thing here is that both parties have to be on the same page. All right.
Yes, definitely.
Communicate across that person. If you have to break somebody's heart, somebody has to break your heart. Better to do it earlier than at a later stage. I mean, I talk about it. I've seen friends that have gone into relationships, right? They got married, and because a lot of things weren't communicated early, right, at an early stage, then later on in their relationship, some of these big things happen. Like there are communication breakdowns. There are things that people are unhappy about, and these relationships end in divorce, and it's a very real thing. I'm turning 35 this year, and I have friends who are in that circle. So I see these things happen, and a lot of it is down to communicating your expectations, communicating your own perspectives, communicating your desires, what do you look for in a long-term relationship. And I think you have to communicate these things at an early stage. You don't want to be dating a person for 2 years or 3 years down the line, and suddenly the person says, oh, actually I don't want to have kids, but you are somebody who wants to have kids, right? So I think keep that communication open, be upfront, and make sure that you're just honest with that person. I think a relationship is all about honesty, about open communication, and if the more you have that, the more of it you have, I feel the better. I mean, if people are hiding things, then that's not so good. Typically, it's just make sure that you're upfront with that person and you communicate with that person as much as possible. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Hopefully that answers the question, Alfian. And please communicate with your partner how many kids you are expecting.
I'm
sure each of you have your different expectation. Might be 11 for you.
Where you want to stay, right?
Where do you want to stay? You want to stay Singapore, Johor?
Exactly. You want to stay the west side, east side, even things like this need to be communicated across.
So even like your operating hours here, and like what hours do you operate, what hours do you not operate in your relationship? So make sure.
Yes.
So then we move to the more confirmed stage, so which is the long distance relationship. So that's where I think there are most of the viewers here experiencing. They are possibly put into long distance relationship.
So let's say you're in a committed relationship with somebody, and circuit breaker has caused you to be away from that person. All right. So number one rule is during this circuit breaker, please don't go visit your boyfriend or girlfriend. All right. Government will tell you don't go visit your boyfriend, girlfriend. If you get caught, then you may be fined. I don't know whether it's $1,000 or $10,000. But let's save the money for your HDB flat. Save that money for your wedding. Don't spend the $10,000 and just give it to the government. Use that money wisely. All right. So 2 months is not a very long time. So in terms of where I'm coming from this is that I have a bit of experience, because when I first met my wife, this was maybe about 5 years ago, somewhere around there, 5 years ago. We met each other, and I had to go back to Australia to finish up my studies. And then we had about a 6-month long distance relationship. And I think, from my own experiences, just keep that communication going. Now that we have technology, in the past it was just Skype, maybe now WhatsApp, you've got a lot of the digital, you have a lot of, video. You can use Instagram as well. There are different applications that you can use. So technology has really helped us quite a bit. And it's setting aside time, even though you are in a long distance relationship, to say that, okay, I will give you a full commitment, every night, for 1 hour or 2 hours, and you assign those times to that person. Because I mean, because you're not meeting that person face to face, it's very difficult to show any form of affection, right? But I think doing this home based dating, all right, you can still use technology to help you and support you, but it's not just about technology. What I found was that what really helped was that of course I cannot expect my wife at that time girlfriend to constantly be on the phone to message me, right? But we need to we need to set aside those times to say that, okay, I'm gonna end work at this time. We're gonna be free at this time every night. Let's talk at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. depending on what. Or, oh, this today I'm going out with my friends, so let's talk in the morning tomorrow. So it's about committing to that person, even though you're doing it digitally, right? I mean, whatever games that you like to play. If you like to play Monopoly, if you like to read books together, you want to have a book club with your partner, up to you. You want to exercise together also can, but it's setting aside and planning aside that set amount of time that you want to give and commit to that partner. So whatever games you choose to play, whatever activities you choose to have with that partner of yours, during this long distance relationship, of course, make sure that both of you are um, uh, agreeable to the activities, lah, right? You don't want to be a case where one person only wants to play Uno, but the other person wants to play Monopoly, right? So don't make sure that the game or activity that you choose, both people are happy with. All right. Sometimes give space. Yeah, please don't play mind games with the person. All right. I think there was a question just now, somebody asking about 100% commitment, openness. As long as the openness doesn't make it an open relationship that people are not happy with, then that's fine. All right. I think openness is good lah. All right. Yeah. Some of these comments maybe I ignore lah. But the games wise, I think is a good question. Right? What games do you want to play? Like if you are want to talk about, you want to eat together also can. You want to play Monopoly, Uno. You want to play Jenga. Two people have a Jenga set and then they can play with each other. Sure, that's fine. I think there's no problems with it. But you really do need to set aside that time for that person and say that, hey, I'm going to commit myself, my time, and I'm going to give you that time. So I think what that really worked for me. And I think we're all very busy. We're all busy. We all got work. We got school. Some people take exams, right? So it's also good to while you're in this long distance circuit breaker relationship, it's worth sitting down and giving that person your commitment, and also is seeing that commitment from that person, right? If you're trying to commit as much time as you can with this person, but you're seeing that the person is not really committing to you and brushing you off, then maybe it's time to redefine that relationship as much as possible. All right, but yeah, I think that's something that that needs to be looked at and thought about. But yeah, I think there's a lot of whatever activities that I say, whatever activities you choose to do, feel free to do that as long as both of you are consenting, both of you are happy. All right. But yeah, I think the important thing is that you're committing to that time with that person. I mean, I think long distance relationships, because you don't see that person, it's very easy to just go into your own routine that you're very happy. Oh, I'm just gonna do my thing, watch my movie, play my games, right? Watch my Netflix. And I don't commit to my partner because I'm not going to meet them. So what's the point? I cannot go out and date with them. But I think having that commitment to set aside a certain amount of time during that day, And it's not to say that every message you have to respond, but now that we have technology, you can talk to them over the phone, video call, work out that level of commitment that you may have with that particular partner lah.
So
Yeah.
those are really amazing advice for you guys who are listening in. Like I said, the circuit breaker, I think, forces us to focus and pause on our relationship and reflect on what's the definition, what are our expectations, and a lot more deliberate communications for work around. So I feel that at the same time, most of you are curious. Hey, this very structured topic, very easy to follow. And that's because Nick actually created a workshop last year, a meeting workshop of sorts using design thinking. And the thing is that the workshop also explores one of the workshop is actually about expectations and developing your persona, who you want to be with, who are you, who you want to be with, and how should the relationship look like. So my thought was the reason for having this conversation, because we already had a conversation with regards to this before the circuit breaker, which was last year. Everything was normal and quite clear. Hopefully the audience was quite clear about what is it all about. Maybe later I will share you guys download the worksheet as well. There's a worksheet prepared to guide you the whole conversation as well.
Yeah.
So now,
Go ahead. Oh no, I was just gonna say about the worksheet I have. You can download it and then fill it up on your own. This was done together with two designers. Vic and Beth that helped me out. And the worksheet really, I think it aligns with a lot of things that we've been talking about. It's about defining what are your own expectations within a relationship. And it's also about, once you've defined those expectations that you have for a relationship, it's also about communicating it across and aligning to say that, hey, the person that I'm looking for, the person that I want, then I will be able to to communicate those expectations across. So that's I think the whole purpose of the worksheet, which I will also put it in the link in the bio after this podcast, so you can go and check it out. This show, and then Imran will also have it for Paper Backpackers in the link. So yeah.
So the thought came to my mind. That is prepared with the context that everything is normal.
Yeah.
We never put actually planned for this for a situation of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So with this pandemic and with the lockdown or extended time where we are in recluse, do you feel that the expectations and that whole flow of how we should view relationship, everything has changed, at least temporarily?
I think your expectations within a relationship as well as for a partner, these are very long-term things that you're talking about. I mean, people go into relationships mainly for, we're talking, of course, from an Asian context, right? I mean, this doesn't include short-term relationships where you are trying to just, get a fling or other things, right? But the traditional view of a relationship is that, you are sort of getting, married to that person, and then, that's, have kids or whatever it is, right? Or you buy a house together, but it typically is set within a long-term period. So I think that the circuit breaker gives us a little bit more time to sit down and think about these things a little bit better. Because when you're in recluse, I think that should be the time where you are really you do have less distractions. Of course you have your work, but you are not able to go out. You cannot go and do your shopping and things like that, right? So it definitely does give you a little bit more space and a little bit more time to make these decisions. Whether or not it really impacts the relationship, I don't think long-term relationship. Let's say if you're already in a committed long-term relationship, it will impact it too much lah. But if you're in a new relationship, I think actually the circuit breaker now is actually a good time for you to be exploring your expectations for that person or that person's expectations for you, because you cannot go out and walk around aimlessly around the shopping malls or walk around the parks or go out and date and do these different things. But you're able to sit down and spend a little bit more time communicating with that person and talking to that person. So I think it does bring a little bit more benefit for these newer relationships that are trying to explore these long-term variables and elements within that relationship lah. So I think that brings it helps, and also it helps to highlight some of the flaws that may be there. All right, but I think if you're in a new relationship, keep talking, keep having that open communication with that person, be honest with that person, but also be honest with yourself, because in new relationships we're always trying to portray ourselves as a different persona to people, and it happens very naturally. It's very hard for us to we always want to put our best foot forward. All right. When you're longer and when you're more comfortable with that person, then these barriers, these personas will start to break down. All right. But I would say try to be as honest and be as upfront as early as possible, because especially if you are trying to ensure that you want to commit yourself to this long-term relationship lah. But like I said, this idea of long-term relationship is only for this particular setting, right? If other types of relationships, then it's your choice, up to you. There's no judgment. But yeah, sure, as long as both parties are happy and both parties are consenting. But in terms of long-term relationships, I think this is a good time for newer couples to sit down and to think about what are their expectations, what are their values, both for themselves as for the other person as well.
So there's a question. What are your
yes,
thoughts on talking to multiple people at one time when single?
Okay. So the theory that I have is that if you have too many options, it makes it very difficult. The issue that I've had with the issue that I've had with online dating platforms over the past, over the years when I was in Australia, I was just starting out, trying to find a Australian girlfriend, those kind of things. So I found that when you have too many options, even though you may be speaking to somebody who is actually quite good for you, but you're constantly thinking about, hey, actually I may have another option that's better. So it's always going to be a case. I've always felt that subconsciously there is going through online dating. It's not that it's bad. I think I've seen people who have have had very good long lasting relationships through online dating. All right, I have no issues with online dating. It's just that people who go on to online dating need to manage their own expectations, to say that, hey, I'm here to look for a person. I'm not here to look for the perfect person, right? Because if we're constantly trying to look for a person, and then hey, oh, I found this person, hey, but maybe there's another person that's better for me, then you're constantly going to be, you're never going to be satisfied. And I think it's also with regards to how we see ourselves as I think that comes from from a media theory perspective lah. There's this thing called a comparative exposure theory. So it's like the more you're exposed to, all right, your expectations are constantly going to be higher. You see the perfect sort of these perfect or things that you want, all right, but they're not really very attainable, or they are they are what we call unrealistic in that sense. All right, then you're constantly going to be be trying to search for these unrealistic things and unrealistic expectations that are out there. So I feel that online dating is an option, but you need to manage your own expectations, because I mean, I'm not a perfect husband, all right. But if my wife was to say that, oh, I want to go and find something that's better, earn somebody who earns more money, drives a better car, or has owns a bigger house, or I mean, my wife's not like that, right? But what I'm just trying to sort of put in terms of the example is that the person that you're committed to, it's more about managing those expectations that you have for each other, and ensuring that you don't try to search for things that are outside of a realistic expectation, in that sense. All right.
So another interesting question.
Yeah.
Relationship is perfect, but that doesn't mean people settle.
I think this settling thing, to be honest, I don't really believe in the settling thing, because what I feel is that I've always felt that relationships, to a certain extent, all right, not entirely, but to a certain extent, relationships are quite transactional. All right. If I bring it down to how researchers have been studying relationships over the past thousands of years, all right. Relationships started out in a sense where in very traditional roles of a male is to provide is there to provide security, money for the wife and the woman, and then the woman is there to provide sustenance and and rear children, right? So that's just a very, very basic sense of it, like that very, very basic, traditional, some will say biological as well, right? Or maybe these are very social structures. But even if you bring it to a modern day context, all right, like what I spoke about just now in terms of what are your expectations of that person, I wouldn't really say that it's down to settling. Because I think that when you're in a relationship, there are things that you're going to be offering to that person, all right, and there's also going to be things that you are receiving from that person. Depending on and depending on that level of communication, how open are you in terms of communicating across your own expectations to that particular person, to say that, okay, we should be putting shared, whether one person provides more money, or one person provides more more time or more effort on some of these particular other things. That goes down to that communication, because I realize that when relationships come to a point where there is very clear, like a hierarchy, whether we call it patriarchal or matriarchal relationships, it becomes very dangerous, because one day this person who is of the higher hierarchy, right, or maybe the person that's a provider or things like that, and they feel that, oh, why am I settling for this person? Then you will also see yourself that, hey, this person is not offering me in enough. Let me go and find somebody who is going to offer me more, etc. So forth. So when you use the kind of language where it says that, oh, I'm settling for you or you're settling for me, I think that's quite quite difficult lah. I mean, I think Gotra sort of brings this question to say 50-50. I mean, you cannot get 50-50, right? But sometimes 51, 49, some days, some person is going to be doing 60% of the work, some people are going to relax 40%. But I think if you're constantly, expressing how much you feel, what are things that you're unhappy about, what are things that you are willing to do, you're willing to make those sacrifices, make those compromises, then that's the 50-50 will even out eventually lah. So I think we cannot it's dangerous when you go into a relationship thinking that, hey, I'm the settler, or I'm the person that has reached higher to be able to gain this person, because once you sort of see that, then your relationship is set in that sense that, oh, one person has more power over the other. So I think that's something that's a bit dangerous. Whereas I think relationships has always been, I mean, the word relationship is that, you're forming a relationship with that person. All right. There is there is always going to be some form of equal exchange, and it shouldn't be it's not your husband or your wife or your partner, your girlfriend is not your boss.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think it's a case where, oh, I'm one person giving an instruction. If you want to give instruction to the person, then you go and find a maid. All right. Or you go and find a toy boy or whatever. All right. I think that needs to be established very, very early on. And I think people need to go into relationships not thinking that, oh, I have more power because I'm the person that's settling for you. Since I got nobody or whatever, or I just choose you, then I settle for you, right? If you go into a relationship with that kind of mindset, I think that's something that's quite dangerous, long term. Yeah. So I think it's having that balance. It will never even out to the day you die. It will never even out to 50-50. Some days maybe higher, lower. Maybe at the end of the day, 55-45. But I think around there, lah. All right. Yeah. And as long as you're constantly presenting that across, I think that should be fine.
There's a lot of good questions coming for you guys, huh?
Yeah. Thank you.
This is yeah. I mean, there's the notion of how we can actually view relationship. I mean, wow. So a lot of us, a lot of them are actually silenced by the comments, your sharing and everything. But again, it's actually it's a process of self-discovery.
Yeah,
where we constantly check our intentions. Why are we doing this? Who are we? Which goes back to the worksheet, which helps to guide the thought process. Who is it that we are with? What do we know about the person? And we're constantly trying to find out about the person as well. And probably for both sides of the coin, even those who are in long-distance relationship and those who are spending extended period of time with yourself, you're probably discovering new things.
Yeah, I think my design thinking background and my interest in romantic relationships have always had very close, I think, impact on each other, lah. When I was teaching a research module many years ago, my first thing that I will step into class is to say that, hey, when you're doing design research, when you're doing design innovation, all right, it's very similar to the dating process, all right, because you start your secondary research, right, which is to maybe go and you let's say you see somebody and you want to know this person better, you start your secondary research, right? You go on Instagram, you go and sign them on Facebook, you go and find them on the different social media accounts, you go and understand them a little bit better, right? So you do a bit of the secondary research first. Then you go and do the primary research, which is to go and know that person, speak to that person, interact with that person. And then after you've done all your research already, you will do the defining stage, which is to say that, hey, do I want to be with this person or do I not want to be with this person? But you need to do the two stages of that secondary research first, right? The secondary and the primary research first. And I think that's very similar to a lot of the design work that we do, right? To understand the context, to do the research, to be able to understand the problem statements, to be able to understand the context, who's your target audience, all these kinds of things. And then based on the information, you be strategic. You create your tactics, whether it's your strategy, whether it's your branding or whatever. You define very clearly what is the outcome you're going to create, right? So that's where your definition stage comes in as well.
To be on that, before I take the question that you asked, you guys, maybe I just ask a question. That also means that you agree that you can't also have information.
I think information-wise or data that you collect from both, it's sometimes we need to remove a bit of our biases. All right. I be quite real. I had a long-term relationship once, and the discussion of religion came up. All right. I grew up Catholic, and this person grew up or was Protestant. All right. And the thing is that I have my bias about this particular topic. It doesn't have to be religion. It can be anything else. It could be like about politics or about family or views on children or whatever. But I think when we're having this discussion and there are disagreements, all right, there needs to be the information that you're collecting. I think very similar for both relationships as well as for your design projects that you create and the design projects that you do. The number one thing is that we need to remove bias. You know, understand where we're coming from. You know, I'm male, Chinese, I'm Singaporean. I have biases about about race, about religion. I have biases about nationality. I have biases about what's good food, what's bad food. I have biases about the movies that I like, right? But I think it's about acknowledging what biases we have and making sure that our biases don't feed into these decisions that we make, as well as it doesn't feed into the research that we collect. All right. So sometimes when we make those decisions, whatever decision you make, trust your gut, go with it, but make sure that you're removing as much bias as possible. Right. So I think from a research ethics perspective, they always ask, what's your bias? How have you removed the biases from your research projects or your design projects, and tackle the design problem as objectively as possible. So I think that's something that needs to be looked at. Yeah, the bias part.
Question.
Okay, yeah, sure.
If you love her, let her go. If you were meant to be, you will be together in the end. Any comments?
Yeah, I've let go of a lot of people, and a lot of people have let go of me, so it's okay. I can live with it. Yeah. I mean, okay, so I think I believe that it's actually healthy to be dating different people, not different people at the same time, but as you grow through life, you will grow older, you will meet different people. You may have liked somebody when you're in secondary school, when you're in JC, you're in poly, uni, you have different perspectives on life. And I think that every relationship that I've been in, I've educated myself. So my for example, my first relationship, I learned that I need to stand up for myself and not just listen to everything that my girlfriend was saying. All right. Second, then maybe my second or third relationship, the thing that I learned about myself is to not compromise on my own beliefs and my own personal values, and not expect that I will change as time goes on within a relationship, right? So I think that needs to be I think when you're learning, I think when you're dating, I think it's healthy. You meet new people, you learn about yourself, and you learn about that person you're dating as well. So I think it's always good to have those experiences. I think you can date as many people as you want. Have many relationships. And some people are lucky, maybe they have one or two relationships and then they get married. Some people maybe have 5 or 6. That's okay. It's not a negative thing that you have, many different relationships and things like that. I think you just have to sit down and explore and just get to know yourself as better through your experiences. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take one more question, which is
sure.
About just now you were talking about Copy Date, right?
Oh yeah. So there's so are there any apps? So if some of you are considering or are tired of using online apps, all right, because maybe some of the applications, the algorithm you're not very happy with. So our live video has ended.
Restart.
It's okay. But on Facebook we're still going lah. So never mind. So on Facebook, I think just to respond to that question, with regards to I think what you're talking about, we have Copy. There's this application. There's this company called Copy Dates. So Copy Dates actually is very interesting, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to move away from these digital platforms. They are a dating they are a dating company, but what they do is that they get people to come and sit down and do dating sessions, whether it's speed dating or one-on-one or things like that. So they are trying to move away from the digital platforms onto more physical and platforms that are there. Yeah.
Okay. I think they're requesting for you to continue.
Share to story. Can I share the story? Okay.
You need to restart because there's a time limit for IG Live.
Oh, okay. Can. Okay, I'm back. Wait. Oh, hello.
It's,
Oh, you need to join again, right?
yeah, I need to join again.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, Imran is coming in.
Right.
So Imran asked a question about online dating. Online dating and applications, right? Actually, there has been this company that I recently met a while back before the circuit breaker, and they were actually quite they've been featured on newspapers and Straits Times and I think Taobao and a few other magazines. They are basically trying to bring back the physical interactions for dating and moving away from that online dating. So makes things a little bit more personal. And I think that's quite interesting. You know, you can always go and check them out. Copy dates if you are single and you're looking to find a partner. You can always try these other options apart from just digital options, online apps if you as well lah. So you're at least sitting down with somebody, giving opening up your social circle a little bit more, meeting new people, and you're part of their platform where they will arrange for dates or speed dating sessions for you guys. So if you want to move away from the applications, you can always try Copy Dates. So shout out to Copy Dates. If you want to sponsor me for anything, let me know. I'm always open for sponsorships. Copy Dates, check them out. And hopefully you'll be able to try one of their services out when it comes to the networking, the dating networking sessions that they do have. So yeah.
So yeah, maybe if there's no more question, I'm gonna do a wrap up. Guys, any last questions that you guys have in mind? Oops. Okay, so there's still a question. How do you know if he or she's a keeper?
How do you know? So why not I give you my own personal perspective on my own personal experience lah. So I've been married for about 3 years plus, and I also and when I met my wife many years ago, we dated for a year and then I proposed to her after a year. So that's sort of the timeline. I mean, some people will say too fast, some people they say too slow on this lah, right? But what I think struck me was that when I already went into the relationship with my wife, I knew that I had a few of my own expectations. All right. This is for me lah. This is for me lah. These are expectations for me, not for anybody else. So, disclaimer: I don't expect you to follow. You shouldn't be following the same expectations that I have, right? For me, one was that I wouldn't go out with somebody who was of a particular religion lah. That was because of I had complications with somebody of that particular religion. Like I mentioned just now, Protestant Christian. So it's not. I have nothing against Protestants, but it's just that for me personally, I wouldn't have gone into a relationship with that because of my previous experiences. Other things were also that I also was looking out was also about in terms of the kind of person, like the personality traits that I was looking out for. calm, collected, not too, how would you say, not to say not emotional. People can be emotional, but it's not too hot-headed in that sense, right? So somebody who's more calm and collected. So these were the qualities that I knew I was already looking for, and I was already at the age of, I was 29, about 30, when I had established these expectations, and this knowledge that I had on for myself already. So it took me a good, 10, 12 years of dating different people, and learning about myself. So I would say, you will need to experience things, or at least you will need to know and define those expectations for yourself. And maybe some will say, why it take you so long, right? It's just that every relationship, like I said previously, it helped me to understand myself better, and helped me to understand what I needed better. So these qualities that I love my wife for now today. She just joined the Instagram live. So hello wife. um, these expectations that I knew, that I was looking out for, were all things that I've learned over the years, through the different relationships that I had. I am the first relationship that she's had, but she knew what she wanted, right? So it's not to say that you have to have more relationships to know, but it's just that you have to know what you are looking out for. You have to know for yourself. It cannot be just a case where, this person is visually appealing, let me go and go for this person, right? There are many other factors. So if you have time, maybe fill out the worksheet that I have, and you can check it out, and you can download it as well. But yeah, I mean, I think I think the whole point of this whole conversation that I've had with Imran so far is really to establish those expectations that you have for yourself. And then once you understand yourself the best, that's where I think you can confidently go out and find somebody who you want to go into a long-term relationship with. So I think number one is to be confident and to understand who you are as a human being. What are the things that make you tick before you can go and start finding happiness and finding a long-term relationship with someone else? Because if you don't understand what makes you tick as a human being, what is the thing that drives you as a human being, then it'd be very hard to rely on the other person to give you what you don't even know what you need as a person. So I think that's something that's very important. That's why I started this whole parallel thing, started this whole conversation in terms of relationships, to say that people need to establish and define these values and these expectations for themselves before they can go out and find somebody else. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
So just to recap, guys, earlier we talked about balancing between, for those who are extended period of time with your partners, look for ways where you can recharge, either through rest time or maybe running errands to take that break from the extended period of time. For those who are in long distance relationship, try to work out a pattern, try to work out a system where you can maintain that engagement. And like he said, the circuit breaker should not be discouraging you, or should not be dampening the bond that you forge, especially for long term. Especially for something long term, it should not cause much of a challenge. Probably it may cause a bit of discomfort. But that's about it, I guess. But then for those of you who are in newer relationships, it actually gives you a lot of time to pause and ponder and reflect on the whole idea of the relationship itself. There's a lot of amazing questions, like how do you know how is a keeper? Again, all back to self-awareness, which is why we do this conversation as well. You need to figure out what makes you tick, what. But then again, information, because you can never get perfect information. There'll be a time where you need to you make a decision. It's you're gonna follow through with what you commit to, and before you finally understand the whole idea of what you it's not going to be like instantaneous 1 day, 2 days, because there's not so much of like competition is that is a whole different set of things. It's not, we're not saying that we disapprove, it's just something altogether.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. You guys love the session, not like the session. You guys have been providing more questions than all my other talks combined. Some of you even requesting for episode. I don't know how but if you feel that this is something really useful, you think your friends, your family members, they need to hear this. Maybe you can slide some questions to me, and then I can formulate something that we can have another follow-up session sometime in the future. I mean, it seems like something of you guys, giving you guys a lot of clarity. Where we can start is maybe the worksheet first. That's where you can get started.
Can, yes. So like I said, we will have the link for the worksheets up on the socials, and then you can always just download and then try it out. And then you have any questions, please feel free to drop me a message, and then I'll try to answer as much as I can.
So once again, thank you. Hopefully you had a enjoyable session.
I did. Very good. I really had fun. A lot of fun. Thank you everybody who came on. Yeah. No. I'm also a clueless kid. I'm also learning. I'm only I'm also learning, and I'm also trying to understand myself better, and it's a lifelong journey that you are we're all on, and we're just here to help and support each other as much as we can. So yeah.
So you got a message for those who you got a message for those who are going through this. Any message for them?
I think I mean I think the message that I think we've been trying to drive home throughout this whole session is really just keep that communication open. I think the more you talk about things with people, you're also actually you're getting your thoughts out, but you're also establishing more clarity in terms of your own perspectives in the world. And you're really giving yourself that space to help you define what it is that you're looking for in terms of as a human being, in terms of your values and your expectations and what you're looking out for. So I think definitely that's something to really add on, and that's something to really sit down and reflect. I think in these trying times, we all need to sit down and reflect on ourselves. And sometimes it's difficult, if depending on your situation at home, or the pressures at work or at school. But give yourself that space. Give yourself the time to reflect and evaluate what is it that you're really looking to do. So I think that's really what today was all about.
Some of you are curious, what is it like communicate? Because I believe when we say the word communicate, some of you guys might think it's just talking. I would feel that it's more than that. You need to give some thought, which is why Nick earlier mentioned about design thinking. Design thinking is meant to guide your process. So the worksheet is prepared to help you know what you should be communicating about. It's not about asking whether have you eaten. It's not about asking why you angry or the kind of stuff.
But those are still not bad questions, not bad questions. Those surface questions that help you dig to those deeper. I think when we talk about questions, conversations, and talking, like I said, it's where we're trying to understand. So I think I bring it back to so one of the podcasts that I did recently with this lady called Angela Ng. She's studying psychology, behavioral sciences, and things like that. So the important part, actually, she's been able to apply and see the impact of emotions in design thinking. So if we break down, which is when we break down relationships, when we break down businesses, when we break down design opportunities, I think one of my colleagues, Paul, he will always talk about, what is the emotion that you're trying to elicit from the user. All right. He always talks about emotions and what is the emotion that you want your viewer to see. But similarly, when you think about relationships, what is that emotion that you're trying to get rid of? What is the emotion that you're trying to bring into the conversation? So, for example, like you're feeling angry about something, you're unhappy about something, we need to break it down and say that what's causing that anger. If you're happy about something, what is it that you're happy about? It's not just about the present that the person is giving you, but is it about the act that the person has sacrificed themselves, to give you something, or the reminder, or the effort that the person has come across, not just the gift, right? So we need to break down to a deeper level, and it can be broken down on a level of emotions. I think emotions, we all experience emotions. And Angela talks about two things when it comes to emotions. She talks about understanding, being able to define the emotions is a very important part. So when it comes to anger, there's different facets of anger. You can go and research a little bit more. When it comes to fear, there's also different types of fear. So it's about evaluating, understanding what those emotions are, and having the vocabulary to say what those emotions are as well. So I think in relationships, especially for when we understand ourselves, what are the things that make us happy, and what is the type of happiness that we're experiencing? What's the thing that's making us angry, and what's the type of anger that we're experiencing? I think these two things are very important, which is being able to have the vocabulary to define those emotions, and being able to understand what those emotions are. So I think that there's actually two levels in terms of what a person needs to do when we're looking at emotion. So I think when we're talking about this communication, talking to people, if it's a bit vague for you, try to break it down and try and look at it from an emotional level. I think that's a good place to start.
All right, so I'm learning a lot. I guess learning a lot as well. If you guys learning a lot, you can just spam the love or the comments with whatever comments you have.
Yeah,
so
I'm always about real talk. I'm always about real talk. Don't worry.
So we're gonna wrap up the session. I don't want to hold Nick any longer.
Yes. No, it's good. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Since a lot of people love this session, probably we can look at another session with more people involved as well. So
Sure.
We love the whole session, and we hope you have a good day.
Oh. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. Technical difficulties. Yeah.
Right. Enjoy your work from home, and looking forward to meeting you again.
Yes. See you, everybody. Yeah.
Again, this session is a circuit breaker series for you to get through this whole circuit breaker so that you emerge faster, better, stronger, in some sense. And if you guys have other topics that you want us to talk about, or there's other speakers that you want to recommend, just let me know. You can let me know personally, or you can let me know either of us what kind of conversations you want to know about. Maybe Nick, you want to share about your podcast as well?
Oh yes. So I have started the Everything Design Show. So it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Play. I have the links directly in my bio, so please feel free to go on there. You go to Spotify, LinkedIn, you just search Nicholas Teo Everything Design Show, you'll find all the podcasts. And at the one that I was talking about emotions and design, Angela was also you can always go and find them about that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So thank you very much, Imran. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for asking all your questions. And yeah, we will continue to bring you more exciting content, whether it's both from the Everything Design Show as well as from the Paper Backpackers platforms.
All right. Bye, guys.
Yeah. All right. See you. Thank you. See you. Bye.